All right. Well, good evening, everybody. My name is Brian Sperber. I'm president of Michael Waltrip Brewing Company and Michael's partner. We started the beer company together several years ago and have been having a lot of fun. And kind of the next adventure for us is the launch of a new happy hour show. We're kind of calling right now Beer Goggles. Tonight's our first episode. So if it doesn't go well, this will be the last episode as well. But we think it's going to be a lot of fun, and it's something that we're going to do very frequently as the year goes forward. And want to also thank everybody that's tuning in to see the show tonight, and let you know that tonight's show is live, but we also are recording tonight's broadcast, and we'll have that up for later viewing as well. And you can log on to our social media accounts, either at Twitter or Facebook, for some updates on that. But I also want to say a special welcome to our guest tonight, Tommy D'Angelo, pilot of the dirt modified Tommy D'Angelo number 23 machine, and Jeremy Connors, president of Tommy D'Angelo Racing. Gentlemen, thanks so much for joining me tonight.
Thanks, Brian. Thanks for having us.
Absolutely, guys. Well, let's get started. Tommy, I'm going to fire a couple of questions to you. I was looking over your bio tonight. Of course, we've gotten a chance to hang out a little bit together over the last couple of years, but I learned something about you, that you actually started your racing career as an online racer. Tell me about that.
Yeah. So my old job, one of the guys that worked there said that he does iRacing all the time, and told me I should get my own rig. So one day I just decided, you know what, let me run to the store, grab a computer, grab a quick setup and throw it on. And it's been ever since then. I've been upgrading and racing more and more often. And yeah.
That's amazing. It's like right out of a movie. You start as an online racer and then you end up transitioning to the real thing. When you were racing online, what gave you the confidence to think, hey, I could actually do this in real life?
Well, I started racing mostly dirt. I was in a couple leagues for asphalt, but I was trying to focus more on the dirt side of it. I like that racing. And right off the bat, I won a couple races. So it was in the lower divisions, but I quickly moved up, and it just kind of said, why don't we ended up going to the races one day, and we said, you know what, we know someone that does this. Why don't we try doing this?
That's amazing. And then the first night when you got behind the wheel, that must have been some crazy emotions flying around.
Yeah, they told me in the heat race to not push it and to just kind of learn how to drive. And after 2 laps, I was catching the back of the pack. So
yeah, he was pushing it.
Yeah,
he was pushing it. And my
Well,
nerves.
well, let's say hello to this fellow over to your left. This is Jeremy Connors, president of Tommy D'Angelo Racing, and Jeremy, thanks also for being here tonight. And tell me, this is a family affair with you and Tommy, isn't it?
This is, yeah. Tom's my stepson. So we've been together for a couple of days, and this is something that we put together, right? Something that he wanted to do, he wanted to get done, and we were definitely excited here. I mean, from inception to reality, right? This thing has been a roller coaster of a ride. We've gotten to meet a ton of great people, such as yourself, Michael, the rest of the group. This has just been an amazing journey thus far.
And when Tommy started on this journey, were you thinking this is cool, this is crazy? What was going through your mind?
Yeah. So we know the Chastains. And we used to watch Susan and Ralph. They would pace up and down pit road. And I said to Ralph one day, I said, Ralph, I go, what are you doing? He goes, I got to pace. He goes, it's my nerves. He goes, I can't really watch this. Obviously now, Ross coming in second there in the championship and stuff. Their nerves have settled. So my wife and I think followed suit with that. It was very nerve wracking at first, right? Because we really didn't know. We were young to the sport. As I say, owners or, part of this deal with Tommy, and it was nerve wracking. Now I'm like, it is what it is. He comes in, we have good debriefs. Tommy gives feedback like a pro to his crew chief, to his team. Definitely knows what needs to get done on the car. One thing I will tell you, he builds all his cars. Okay, so he nuts and bolts them, builds them. We get awesome support from DKM, which is our chassis builder up in Hageman, New York. Big shout out to Dave Constantino and Eric Mack and all the crew up there. They build one hell of a race car. Would you say, Tom?
Yeah. Yep.
That's amazing. Of course, that picture you can see on the screen there, that looks like Victory Lane.
Yes. Well, that's on the front stretch, but yes. Yeah.
Wow, what an amazing journey, though. You start as an online racer. You get in the cockpit of a car, and then you find yourself in Victory Lane. I mean, what are the emotions that that go from starting, which is an unusual place to start as an online racer, and end up having so much success and winning races and running up front. What has that journey been like?
Obviously it has ups and downs. The first two races were really good. We were in someone else's car, someone else's equipment, but they set the car up really good, was able to get me in top 10 finishes each night that I started. But once we started doing it all ourselves, it was kind of a struggle to finish up in the front. We had multiple second place, third places, but we could never get that win. And then we switched over last year to the DKM chassis. And first night out, we were right there leading the race up until 2 laps ago and something broke. And ended up finishing third, I think. And then going to Fonda for our first time ever, leading the last 5 laps until the last corner, and someone passed us. So it's been a lot of miss wins. But we did get one in the rookie sportsman last year. Ended up going to Fonda. We blew a motor and said, you know what? We need a new motor. Why don't we're already down in points now. Why don't we move up divisions? And first race we started, we ended up winning. So it kind of it proved it to myself that we were able to keep going and just continue with what we're doing.
Do you find that building your own cars, and of course with the help with DKR on the chassis side, do you find that to be an advantage? Is that something that you feel helps you?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, when you're building your own car, you know what it does. You know how it handles. You know what to do to make it different. It feels comfortable. When someone else does it for you, you're always second guessing.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. So Jeremy, let me throw this one to you. So you guys have dove, head first into motor racing now with Tommy's career and with the team and everything. But, going back when you were growing up, I mean, were you always a race fan, or is this something that's been new?
Yeah, Brian, I've always been a race fan, right? It was something that my dad brought me into, right, in the early '80s. In fact, went to Pocono, I believe it was '82, for my first race, and we sat in the stands, and I said to him, Tim Richmond and that group was out there, right? So we're there. We had I said, boy, I like that yellow and blue car. My dad said, yeah, not too many people like him. I said, well, yeah, I do. and I became a major Dale Earnhardt fan, RCR fan. Just really on the basis of what they were built on, right? I mean, let's face it, Richard Childress, self-made, built that organization up to where it is today. Taking a lot of that stuff and really transposing it to our program here.
Well, and speaking of, program, I think, one of the things, in watching what you guys have done is, your approach to how you deal with sponsors. And, your team has got a nice roster of sponsors. Of course, Michael Waltrip Brewing is one of those, and we're really proud to be associated with you and Tommy. But I just noticed that, you've taken a different approach about, really giving value to those sponsors. Talk a little bit about kind of your philosophy and how that's really set you up for success.
Yeah, so I think we really take the approach of giving the sponsor an opportunity to gain the value in which they're looking for, right? To build upon their brand, such as we do with the Michael Waltrip brand. We want to make sure that we're making an impact. We're selling the brand. We're giving them the return on investment, right? That's very important. And looking at this, a lot of people really, don't understand the importance of sponsorship and what that means for them and for their programs, if you will, right? I've been coached by some of the best in the business and have been able to fully understand, what it means to bring that value. And that's what we do. We're driving off of the success of that. And that allows Tommy to focus on getting in the car and winning races, right? Having the best equipment to get out there on the track and win races. And, we have some really awesome sponsors. We have Liberty Contracting in Half Moon, New York. Generational family-owned business that does work throughout New York State, does a fantastic job. We have FASNY, which is the Firemen's Association of the State of New York. Like, who doesn't want that? Who doesn't want to help an association of firefighters, right? Whether it's to garner support from legislators, whether it's to bring in volunteers, volunteer firefighters. As we know, volunteer firefighting is a passion of both of ours. Me being a past fire chief, Tommy being a volunteer firefighter. We want to bring back and give back to the organizations that helped us. And this is one of our marquee sponsors is FASN.
Well, I think it's an amazing relationship because of your personal connection to firefighting. Of course, Tommy, I think you're currently a volunteer firefighter all away from the racetrack, aren't you? Yeah. So that's really amazing how that sort of all comes together, and you can really speak from the heart and speak from experience about what it's like to be a firefighter and face those types of challenges.
Yeah, I mean, especially right now, the biggest challenge right now for that is getting members and keeping those members in. So, I mean, with FASNY, we kind of teamed up, and now they're going to multiple tracks throughout New York State and promoting. They're promoting volunteer. So, with us being on the car, it really, or with them being on our car, it really helps promote volunteer firefighters. That one is actually going to be at Malta this Friday and then coming Friday for the first responders night. So we're also going to try to push it more on that night. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, The track allows first responders to get in free with their ID.
They do. Yep.
So it encourages them to show up, bring a friend, and we're going to try to push the initiative that way too.
Well, heck, you could get some people to sign up in the parking lot, and then they can get into the races for free.
Yeah.
That's it, right?
Yeah, I like it. Absolutely.
It's a great initiative, and I'll tell you, having almost 30 years in the fire service here, it's awesome to be able to fly the Firemen's Association of the State of New York colors. We're so very proud. It's on his fire suit. It's on our cars. We're very proud to have that. Would you agree?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's an amazing association. And, I want to talk a little bit about, our relationship. But before we do, how do you guys feel about how the season's going? What are you looking forward to? Where do you think there are opportunities for success for the remainder of the season?
Right now, the season's been okay. It's been a lot of getting the luck of the draw. We either get a great start in the heat race and end up something happens in the feature, gets put us in the back, or we've had good nights where the following week, because of the handicap, we get put in the back. We got to fight our way forward. I think there's been 3 or 4 weeks where I'm starting 20th, 23rd, something like that, and I'm fighting it just barely outside of top 10. I got multiple 12th and 11th finishes from 24th this year. So it shows progress that we're able to move through the field, gain spots in 20 laps. I mean, 10 cars in 20 laps is challenging on a small track like that, but
that's making some moves. So
yeah,
it's not quite as satisfying as that checkered flag, but man, oh man, that's really impressive, Tommy.
Yeah.
Well, when you look ahead to the schedule, are there certain tracks that you feel, that you have a higher degree of confidence that you like, man, I can't wait to get to this place because I feel like we're going to do well?
We actually went to Glenridge a couple of weeks ago. We tested the car out for the first time. We felt really good about it. We had a really fast car, and then we went the next week, and the rear end just broke on us, and it ended our night. We were really looking forward to racing there, but it just didn't work out for us. And then, we started at Lebanon Valley. We felt good in the beginning, and then we've just been fighting issues with the car ever since. We actually had to repair the one car after a bad wreck on the second night there. But yeah, we're looking really forward to Malta. That's our home track. Whenever we can go there and do good is always a good thing for us.
Yeah, absolutely. And we were talking about, the colors that you're flying there on the car with Fasney, which is amazing. And there's another sticker on your car that is pretty interesting, but for very different reasons. And the fellow on the main screen there holding the beer, standing in the brewery, I think his name is on your car there at Michael Waltrip Brewing, and that is it's an unusual relationship, but I think even more unusual is how it got started. And so I'm going to throw it to you, Jeremy, and tell the story about how this unlikely relationship, Michael Waltrip Brewing, and with the brewery there in Bristol, Virginia, gets hooked up with a race team in upstate New York and makes history. So how did this all come together?
Well, it was one of the most significant visits of my life. I'll tell you. Yeah. So we go down to Bristol, for the night race, September, about 2 years ago now, right, Brian?
Yeah.
And so I got a Chevy 2500, which I love. Nice high country, pulling this, my tenement on wheels, my fifth wheel. We get down there, and buddy of mine's with us. He's driving it, and he goes, "Hey man, the steering's locking up in this thing." And I'm like, "What?" I go, "Come on." I go, "What'd you do to it?" So he breaks this thing. We have to bring it to the dealership on State Street. We bring it there. And then I said, "Well, I guess we're going to go for a tour of downtown Bristol." And I said, Michael Waltrip Brewing is around here. They just opened like 4 days ago. And so we get stumbling around downtown Bristol looking for Michael Waltrip Brewing, and lo and behold, it looks like this too. It's like euphoria when you come to it. There's glowing. You can smell victory coming out of this amazing place. So we walk in. I believe you guys just opened. Actually just opened for the day. So we pull up to the bar, order some amazing beer. I think I had a blonde, 2-time blonde, and I'm sipping on this thing, going, man, this is some awesome beer. And I have a shirt on that says Seneca Lodge. and this fella walks up to me and says, "You ever been there?" Well, yeah, I got the shirt. Yeah, you know where it is? Yeah, Watkins Glen. And off we go. It's Brian Sperber.
Yeah, it was really funny because that week was really drinking out of a fire hose. That you're right. We had just opened the tap room, just opened the brewery, and nobody knew anything about how to run anything. So I mean, it was kind of chaos. I can't even say it was organized chaos. It was just chaos. And so everybody was pressed into service, and we were all doing different jobs just to keep things rolling. I think I was tending bar that day. And
yeah, you were.
Yeah. And I remember, you walked in with that Seneca Lodge t-shirt. And for those of you that are watching, I spent a fair amount of my career at Watkins Glen. I was president up there for about 5 years. And just down the street from the Speedway on the other side of the hill is a very famous lodge, Seneca Lodge. And the bar there is steeped in lore around motor racing, going back even to the Formula One days,
Right.
when F1 ran at the Glen back in the 60s. And so there's all kinds of memorabilia and just so much history of Seneca Lodge. It truly is one of those places, like at Simpkins, I think, up at Road America is another one of those bars.
Yep.
And at Bristol, of course, it's Michael Waltrip Brewing now. But it's one of those places when you go to a race town that you just have to check the box and go see. And and I can tell you, of all the things that I was expecting to see that day, a t-shirt from Seneca Lodge was not it. And so as soon as I saw it, I couldn't help myself and ask you about it. And I'm really glad that I did, because that lit off a great friendship, and it's opened the doors, for us to do, so many things together. So that's been awesome to see how that's all worked out. And of course, then it developed into a, more of a business opportunity too, with, sponsoring Tommy and the team, and, and helping to support you guys, but also, promote the brand. And so that's been, just terrific. And we really appreciate everything you guys have done to carry the flag in our colors, not just in upstate New York, but when you're racing in other places like Charlotte too. So it's much appreciated. And Michael and I both, thank you guys for your support. And here's up on the screen here, Colin's put up some of the beers that we've got. I think you may have tried one or two of those over there.
Well, I got one sitting right here. So
well, that in that middle one, Bristol Sunshine, is one that we're really excited about. It's a new beer, relatively new for us, but we've been putting that in distribution, and it's been selling extremely well. Blonde, of course, was our original beer, and that was the one that I think you first tried.
I did.
And then this 15 Southern Lager, we've been playing around with that one, and that we'll see what we end up doing with that. It's available in our tap rooms, but we've got some other beers that are coming down the pike that we're gonna put into
I think we rolled that Sunshine Lager out, or ale out, didn't we?
We did. And, we had the opportunity. Michael was in Daytona and for the 500, and we did an appearance at, a lot of the grocery stores now are opening bars, inside the store, which greatly enhances the shopping experience, I'll tell you. And there's a Publix in Ormond Beach, Florida, that has one of those. And we had, I think, all three of those beers and a couple others one night at a tap takeover. You guys were kind enough to stop by as well. and the Bristol Sunshine beer sold out very quickly. It sold out first. So that was yeah, that was cool to see. And then from there, it's just kind of grown. And so we're happy about the direction that beer is going in, and we're gonna have a new beer coming that'll be a drafting partner for Bristol Sunshine. But I think we've got some other slides coming up too, Colin. We can hit that. I'll just we're talking about distribution, guys, and you can see where we're headed. That right now, a lot in the Southeast, but we're certainly headed up to New York, and that's on our radar, and in no small part to the effort of Tommy D'Angelo Racing. And we thank you guys for helping to spread the word about Michael Waltrip Brewing in upstate New York. And so the growth of the brand, especially because we just announced this week, and a little bit last week it kind of came out, but officially this week, a brand company called Bavana, which will help us commercialize production and greatly grow our distribution footprint geographically. And you can see there, where our eyes are trained in terms of, growing the geographical reach of the brand is, it's been pretty exciting for us. And, speaking of growth, one of the other things that we announced recently, I guess back in May during the Charlotte race weekend, is a partnership with a franchise company. And so, we've had a lot of fun at the Michael Waltrip Tap Room in Bristol. And I don't think you guys have made it down to the one in Concord yet, have you?
No, we haven't yet. We're that's on
I think that was after.
it was just right after we had left for Dirt Week. You guys started it.
Yeah, sorry about that. We should have planned that a little better.
Our planning was not good.
But we
blame
just
it on the Dirt Series.
Yeah, totally. We just opened up the newest tap room, which is just down the street from Charlotte Motor Speedway. But what's really been cool is we've partnered with a franchise company, and we're going to with them open 100 locations around the country in the next 5 years. So we need to get one or more up in upstate New York, and you can see, a lot of the geographical locations, for us make a lot of sense. Kind of matches up with where the brand was going in terms of beer. And there's Michael was actually on Fox Business Channel the other day talking about it. So that's been it's been really cool to see the growth, and we're going to have a tap room hopefully in a neighborhood near you soon.
Okay.
Yeah, absolutely. Right. We're looking at some target areas.
Yeah, and then the last big item for the brand has really been the possibility of opening the company up to outside investment, and it's something Michael and I have talked about. Would we take on outside partners, and a lot of which are fans of his, or whether it's on the racetrack, or in his career as a dancer on ABC's Dancing with the Stars or Fox Sports. But beer fans as well. And so there's a platform called Start Engine that allows really anybody to have the opportunity to invest in early stage companies. And it can be as low as $250 to get a piece of a company. And so for us, we started talking about how cool it would be to open this up and let race fans and fans of Michael's and fans of our beer come along on this journey with us. And so we're taking a hard look at doing that. And if anybody that's on tonight's show, or that's watching this broadcast later, would like to get more information, you can do that by logging on to michaelwaltripbrewing.com and fill out some information, fill out your email address there, and we'll send you some information and keep you up to date on what we decide to do. But we're definitely excited about it, and it's something that we're certainly going to consider. And then this is the last one. This is true. That we are making beer that Michael loves to drink. And the fun thing about Michael, he's a great friend, great partner. We've been buddies for a long time. The stories are just amazing, and some of them are even true. And we've had a great time together. But it's always been fun to see how he really loves what we're doing. And you see so many times celebrities or people in sports that will lend their name to a brand or to a product, and they don't, they're not really a fan of it. They don't, they don't really care that much. In this case, I can tell you, Michael cares very deeply about what we're doing. I talk to him every single day about Michael Waltrip Brewing. We do make beer that he loves to drink, and it's been fun to see his palate evolve as we've, been in this to what he liked when we started Michael Waltrip Brewing to what he likes today to drink. And it's moved around a lot. And as he's been exposed to different beers. And I think, for us, success really is about, introducing the joy of craft beer to as many people as possible. And, Michael always talks about we're in the smiles business.
Right.
And I really believe that. So, so anyway, that's your update for Michael Waltrip Brewing. And we're gonna be closing out the show here shortly. But before we do, I wanted to ask you guys a little bit. I told you a little bit about Michael Waltrip Brewing and kind of where we're headed. But if you were to look in the crystal ball for Tommy D'Angelo, both driver and the race team, where do you think this thing can go with you guys?
Yeah, I think we can make this into a full-time deal here for Tommy, and we're looking at big picture, right? We're 3 years young into this. We're people know we're there. We have great support, right? Both on the track and off the track. We got guys like the supervisor at the town of Clifton Park, Phil Barrett, right? Amazing. He comes out, he constantly supports us. He supports dirt racing. He supports the efforts of all the racers, but he's out there pushing our brand too, right? He knows the importance of that. And, I think, Tommy has some goals set, right? Yeah,
I mean, obviously the next big step is getting the bigger motor and moving out to big blocks and seeing what we can do with that. And eventually follow the Super Dirt Series and travel all around and do that kind of stuff. Race against guys like Stuart Friesen and Matt Shepard and all those guys up there in the big series and see what we can do with those guys.
We know that Stuart guy, don't we, Brian?
We do, we've got, I think, 3 friends in upstate New York. It's you 2 guys and Stuart. So we appreciate it. I mean, do you ever think, have you ever thought about, is NASCAR even, in the consideration? Have you thought about, trying to, break into NASCAR?
Yeah, I there's opportunity there. We have the Xfinity team, CHK Racing, formerly Mike Harmon Racing, that we're affiliated with. Tommy has worked on the team, an active race trim. There's opportunity there. I think for us the big focus is completing steps, right? 1, delivering to our sponsors. 2, delivering to our fans. 3, pathing to where we envision this program.
Well, we've got guys, we got a couple of questions that have come in from the audience, and one of them is what's your favorite part about racing? What is it that you really love about motorsports?
I guess it's just being out on the track. I grew up with these local tracks, going to watch them every day, and just being out there and being able to race on the tracks that I grew up watching. That's probably the best part about it.
Yeah, I think for me is being able to build a program and watch it mature with Tommy, right? That's for me the biggest takeaway from this is seeing what he can do. I mean, what he has done in such a short time has been simply amazing. From racing in our basement on a computer to actually out there racing, putting his own cars together, building setups, actually going and helping other competitors with their setups now. I'm like, oh my God, how is this possible? Right? This is awesome. He's simply amazed me in so many ways. And I say that not just because he's my stepson, but because he's doing it. He's involved 100% of the time.
Absolutely. And we've got another question that's come in from our audience too, is, how do you guys feel about handicap racing versus draw for position racing?
I understand the handicap. I do. I would prefer heads up racing. Draw for your heat race, where you draw is where you start, or even time trial. You go out there in your group, you set quick time, you're starting first in your heat race. You win your heat race, you're starting front row, or do a draw for the top 3 rows. But I definitely would prefer it to be heads up racing. But I do understand the handicap, so you don't have guys constantly fast up front. But
Gotcha. Well, good answer. So, guys, as we're winding the show down, what's next? What's your next race, and where are we headed?
we will be at Albany, Saratoga tomorrow night.
Tomorrow night.
And,
All right.
yep.
So we hope to see you in Victory Lane. And somebody asked if we're going to have Michael Waltrip beers in Victory Lane, and I hope so.
Well, we're gonna be spilling them out down our throats here if that happens, because Tommy won this race last year. It was a big race, Mark K. Hughes Memorial Race. Which ironically enough, Mark drove the 23, and we parked it in Victory Lane last year with the 23. So we were very proud of that. And I know his dad, Mark K. Hughes' dad, was as well, right?
Yep.
And I know Derek McGrew, he puts a lot of time in and really making this race happen. He and Mark were very close friends. He continues to honor his memory year in and year out. I think this year is the 10th year.
10th year.
Yeah,
Yep.
10th year of the race. And we have some really cool things happening. We're working on trying to get Mr. Honeycutt up here this year in one of our cars, put him in a center drive car. And for those of you who don't know, Caden Honeycutt, Caden's a Craftsman truck driver. So we're going to work on that here this year as well. And we'll have 2 23Cs out there, or what are we going to do? We're going to have to put a 23K out.
Well, there is
something.
no other
Or an
23 in ours, so we can just take off the C.
Yeah, we'll put an H on that thing.
I love it. Well, I think we've got time for a couple more questions from the audience. This one's a great one. It talks about he asked about grassroots racing and how it really requires a true entrepreneurial spirit, and congratulates both you, Tommy, and Jeremy on your team and how you've been able to grow it over time. But the question is, Jeremy, where do you see the future of short track racing in New York going?
Yeah, so the future of short track racing is only as good as its fans, right? Brian, social media sometimes is a demon too, right? As much as it helps us market and get our messages out there, we find that a lot of issues come from the social media, right? They pound these tracks. Oh, the track surface was terrible. The promoters don't know what they're doing. The food was priced too high. The ticket prices are too high. So when I look at that, I say, well, they're in it to make money, right? Not everything's perfect. We got to adapt to it, right? Whether it be on setup or whatnot. That's part of it. Nothing's going to be perfect, but it's only as good as its fans and the fans that it produces. So I have to say, Albany Saratoga Speedway, Lyle DeVore, he just won Promoter of the Year nationally.
Yep.
So congratulations to Lyle and that group up there. He puts his blood, sweat, and tears into making that track safe, raceable, and competitive. And it shows day in and day out. I mean, the stands are packed.
I think the only complaint this year has been that the track is too fast.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
that's the only complaint I've heard of the track this year.
That's hilarious.
But I mean, Brian, the car counts are off the chart, right? We're getting multiple features and multiple divisions per night. Sometimes in 150, close to 200 cars.
Yeah, I mean, easily. There's 40 sportsmen, 40 limited sportsmen, and I'm thinking 30 something modifieds on a weekly basis. And that's just
going home.
That's just
right?
3 out of the 6 or 7 classes that are there each week.
So I mean, they're doing it right.
And one of the questions we just got from the audience too is how many people are on your crew?
Right. Well, we have a lot of people on the crew, but initially we have me, myself, Jay, my crew chief, who's actually out there working on the car right now. We have Scott Downs, who's our tire guy that's there. And we always have guys that just show up and offer a hand. But those are our three main guys, or the two main guys that we have as well.
Gotcha. Well, it's funny you're talking about the racetracks, and back in my previous career before I was at Michael Waltrip Brewing, I had the privilege to be president of 3 racetracks: Watkins Glen, California Speedway, and almost 20 years at Phoenix Raceway. And there's always there's always a minority group of fans that it's the loud small group that tend to be negative at times. But you just got to overcome all that and realize that the majority of people that are going to the events are having fun, and it's just a really small group that want to complain about everything. And you just got to keep on pushing. And if you have a great product, people will find it. And so hearing about grandstands that are full and car counts that are healthy, that tells me somebody that's been in racing my whole career, that tells me somebody's doing something right, maybe more than one somebody, and so that's really, really heartening to hear. And I'm excited about what's going on there.
Yeah, I mean, what was it, 2 weeks ago? It was actually raining here. Everyone thought the race was going to get canceled. I pull up with the trailer. I get there, it's still raining. 20 minutes later, it stops, and Lyle comes over the speaker saying we're going green at 6 o'clock. And I look out, and the stands were full. We didn't get the features in, but we got all the heat races in, all the hot laps in. Stands were full, even though they knew it was raining all day.
And you were fast as hell, weren't you?
It was really fast, that track. Yes.
That's awesome. Well, we've got one more question from our attendees, and then we can I think kind of throw the checker flag on tonight's show. I guess this one's for you, Tommy. If you could race at one track, what would it be?
I've heard a lot of good things about Syracuse. Everyone used to say that when the Super Dirt Week was there, it was the best track ever. It was a fun weekend. It's sadly gone away. But that is one track that I would have liked to go to.
Yeah, it's been amazing to see the effort to resuscitate so many tracks. You mentioned Syracuse, but the effort to bring North Wilkesboro back.
Oh my God, amazing, right?
Incredible. And there's momentum for Greenville Pickens and other places that they're working on. And it's not easy, but it's been amazing to see what they've been able to do at Wilkesboro. But well, listen, guys, I think our time's about up, and I really, really appreciate you joining us here on tonight's first episode of Beer Goggles. And it was great to share tonight's experience with you and to hear your story and to see the success that you guys are having there. It's just makes us proud to be associated with you, and we're excited to see what the future is going to bring. And Tommy, good luck tomorrow night at Albany, Saratoga. And you defended the defending winner, so we're expecting to open some Michael Waltrip beers in Victory Lane tomorrow night. Okay.
Yep.
All right. Well, thank you, gentlemen. Cheers.
Cheers.
And to everybody that joined us tonight, thank you for coming on to the show. And like I said, we'll have the broadcast in a recorded format up soon. So please follow us on our social media, whether it's Twitter, Facebook, or Instagram, for all of our updates. And cheers, everyone.
Cheers.